Today I am ranking every ride and attraction at Hollywood Studios. Yes, Hollywood Studios, where the rides are big, the wait times are bigger, and churros are overpriced. I'm ranking every attraction from Tower of Terror to the Beauty and the Beast live show. Yes, the shows are included in this too. The only thing that won't be is Fantasmic. Because that's a nighttime show that you can only see once, I'm not really counting that. I think it's a great show, you should see it, but I'm not putting it in this list. So without further ado, let's get right into it with the worst attraction at Hollywood Studios, number 17, Star Wars Launch Bay. Why in the world is this still a thing? I don't know. There is a ton of great Star Wars at Hollywood Studios. I mean, everything in Galaxy's Edge and Star Tours, there's a lot that's great for Star Wars. And then there's Launch Bay. Launch Bay is pretty much a Star Wars meet and greet area with some posters and memorabilia thrown in. I think it is one of the biggest wastes of space in any of these parks. It's time for it to go. How it's still a thing, I don't know. Anything you can skip in Hollywood Studios. To me, it is Star Wars Launch Bay. Coming in at number 16 is the Disney Junior Live Play and Dance, live thing, whatever. Listen, clearly I am not the target audience for the Disney Junior Dance Party, and if you're over the age of 5, neither are you. But if you do have toddlers, this is basically their Coachella, so like that's cool, I guess. I'm sure this is great for the little ones to burn off that energy middle of the day, and I'm not trying to hate on kid attractions just because I'm not the target audience, but I think we can do better on some of these Disney attractions. For kids, is all I'm saying. I miss the big playgrounds to have them run around rather than this, if you ask me. Number 15 on the list is Vacation Fun, an animated short about Mickey Mouse. This is the perfect, oh my god, it's so hot and everything's a long wait, where can we go? Let's chill here. This cartoon is nothing better than you can get on Disney Plus at home on your couch. But if you're looking for a midday break at Hollywood Studios to get out of the sun and in some air conditioning, this is a fine little cartoon that never really has that much of a wait and will get you out of the sun. That's about it. Number 14 on my list is Walt Disney Presents One Man's Dream. This is the one I think a lot of you people just went, what? Yeah, you probably passed this the most. Now, I'll pull up a picture right now of what the outside of this looks like. Essentially, this is a self-guided museum about Walt Disney and his life, so I think that's really cool. And typically, they have a 15-minute show, One Man's Dream, about Walt Disney back there. Sometimes they play sneak peeks at upcoming movies and stuff like that. But really, this is a cool self-guided museum. You can walk yourself through, get out of the sun for just a few minutes. I think it's an underrated part that most people walk by if you want to hear some history about Walt Disney. Nothing super special, but I think it's really cool to have this in the parks. I think it would fit better at Magic Kingdom if you ask me, but hey, I'll take it where we can get it. Number 13 on this list is Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run. Now listen, this is a cool attraction. This is a cool attraction. If you're a big Star Wars fan, this is really cool for 2 out of the 6 people that ride this ride. Pilots, this is a very fun ride where you're controlling and flying the Falcon. If you're the other 4 positions, you're just, wow, this rocks, man. This ride, this is literally what you do on the ride. If you're the engineer in the back, you're just like, oh, while the pilot's just crash into everything. This is this is what you're doing. You're doing this just Star Wars. Pretend this is all Star Wars. They promised a new updated Mandalorian mission, and that's not coming for another year. So no, I don't think this is that great of an attraction for 4 out of 6 people. Therefore, from all the Star Wars stuff we got, it's not as bad as Launch Bay, but it's closer to Launch Bay than it is to like Rise of the Resistance. Number 12, Alien Swirling Saucers. Or as I like to call it, ass. Now, that's not a cuss word, that's an abbreviation for the ride, okay? We're a family-friendly channel. We don't curse here most of the time, but that's the abbreviation of it. That's what it is. Again, another kid attraction. I'm not the target demographic. I think it's a fun kids attraction. It's like Mater's Jamboree if you've been to Disneyland. Cute, it's fun, classic Disney, a good kids ride for Toy Story Land, but it's nothing special like some of the things ahead of it on this list are. The cool thing about it is it's not like teacups level spinning, which is great for me because the teacups makes me throw up. And it can be fun. It can be a fun ride for kids. That's it, moving on. Number 11 is the Beauty and the Beast live show. This show has been around forever, since before I was birthed. I'm not kidding, it debuted before the movie hit VHS. It's a nice show. I love that they have live entertainment and stage shows in Hollywood Studios, so I think there's a place for it, but it's just been going on and you can kind of feel its age a bit. The costumes are great, the cast is great, the songs are just timeless, but it's just dated. If you love Beauty and the Beast, you love the live entertainment around it, this is definitely a show. It can take 25 minutes off, sit down somewhere. Now the theater is outside, so you're not really getting that coolness of an indoor theater, but it is a break and gets you out of the sun for a little bit. But that's about it. You're going to see a run of the live shows because I prefer the rides to the shows. That's just me. Again, a lot of these cool, but not make or break that you need to see every single time. 10 on my list is Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular. Now, if you love stunt shows, old school stunts and stuff like that, and Indiana Jones, you'll enjoy this. If you've seen it one time, you've seen it every time. And it doesn't have that repeatability factor to me. I think there's time for something new here. We've all seen it, and like I said, if you've seen it once, you've seen it 1,000 times. There are some cool elements of it, especially the beginning of it. But outside of that, I skip it most days I go to Hollywood Studios. The seating is outdoors. It's a nice break off your feet. Moving on. Number 9, for the first time in forever, Frozen sing-along. Now, I don't know if by looking at me you can tell I'm not a sing-along guy, but I'm not a sing-along guy. And I don't have kids, so yeah. But I don't even think you have to be the biggest Frozen fan to enjoy this. One, it's indoors, out of the sun, which is nice. And it's the story Frozen, but there's some good, fun comedy here, and this really do a great job. So I think this is a fun time for the whole family. If you're sick of all the Frozen, you see Elsa everywhere, you hear the song 1,000 times, the actors' improv and stuff makes the show unique, and I like that aspect of it, and I usually have a good laugh as I go in there. So it's a fun time. It's my number 9. I enjoy, like I said, I like that Studios has a lot of live entertainment for people, and I think of it all, this is the one I enjoy the most now, which is kind of unbelievable. Number 8 is Muppet Vision 3D. Why we can still say Muppet Vision 3D, you might be watching this and being like, Josh, that's closed forever. It's gonna be closed soon. Still a thing at the time of recording it, so I'm putting it in there. Listen, you can feel the age of this one too, especially the last scene when they blow through the brick wall and you see all the old balloons. Nobody has a cell phone. Yeah, you can tell how dated it is. But it's fun. It's got that Muppets charm. The old guys up top. But still fun jokes. It's a nice break in the AC and gets you out of the sun. It did its time. It did what it was supposed to do. We're all gonna miss Muppet Vision 3D. I still think it'll make its way back into the park in the future one way or another. But it's a fun show. It deserves to be higher up on this list than some of these other things. I'm putting it at number 8. 7 on my list is what I think is one of the most underrated rides or attractions at any of the Walt Disney World theme parks, and that's Star Tours. If I had to choose between waiting 150 minutes for rides and 10 minutes for Star Tours, I'm taking Star Tours every freaking time. I think it's really cool that they have a bunch of different missions, so the repeatability of this ride is really good, and it's still a fun ride. I think it's aged very well. It's one of those ones that still feels like Hollywood Studios to me, because obviously I did it when I was a kid, and now I'm still doing it. But they keep updating it, and they keep putting things in there, so I think it works. I think it's one of those underrated rides here, especially for a simulator ride. I think it's aged very well. This is my number 7. 6 is Slinky Dog Dash. Now this is the ride to rope drop if you are going to Hollywood Studios. Why do I say that? Well, because the line for this gets insane. And is it worth that line? No. It's a great family coaster with a little bit of thrill. Pretty much everybody in the family can enjoy, and it has that family atmosphere. I did do this recently where I sat in the last row and this thing sounded so shaky you couldn't even hear Slinky talk. I wouldn't recommend the last row. That was not that fun. I would sit more towards the middle or the front. And again, it is just a fun family coaster that everybody can enjoy that gets an insanely long line. But the theming of Andy's backyard, especially doing it at night, gives you some really cool views of Toy Story Land. Number 5 is one of the newer attractions at Studios, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Now before we get into it, no, I don't prefer it over the Great Movie Ride. I do miss the Great Movie Ride. I wish they would have just updated the Great Movie Ride, but this does give Mickey a main attraction. When you think about it, Mickey Mouse doesn't have a ton of huge attractions here, and this does do it well. This is a great trackless ride to start. I think this is a fun Disney attraction. You feel like you are in a Walt Disney attraction here with Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse in it. You feel like you're in the cartoon. They did a very good job with it. The thing that holds it back for me is compare it to the other trackless ride that we have here. It doesn't even come close in my opinion, but it's a fun family attraction. Mickey, his main attraction. To me, it's a top 5 ride here, but it's number 5. Number 4 is Toy Story Mania. Now, I think this is one of the most fun and enjoyable rides in any of the Disney parks. I'm a competitive person, and it is perfect for that. I'm dating myself here, but I compare it to like a Wii game in the parks. It's like you feel like you're in a video game. Usually everybody in the family has fun. It's a, like a 3D type ride where you're playing a video game, competing against each other in the cart so you can get the biggest score. It is a much better Buzz Lightyear ride, like a Magic Kingdom, where you can be a galactic hero. There's no galactic hero here, but it's a lot more fun if you ask me, and it's a lot better of an attraction. I love this one I'll beat all of you at it. It's my number 4. Number 3 is the soon-to-be-gone Rock and Roller Coaster, kind of. Roller Coaster is another one that feels like Hollywood Studios, like Star Tours, and there's one more to me that feels like Hollywood Studios, the last of the old school Hollywood Studios, what we had. I love Rock and Roller Coaster. I like the premise of it. I get Aerosmith isn't as big as they once were, but I love it. It feels like Hollywood Studios, and it is a very thrilling, intense roller coaster for Disney. It might be the most intense. It goes 0 to 57 miles an hour in just a couple of seconds. The takeoff is awesome. The theming of it's awesome. And yes, it will soon to be switching over to Muppets. I don't know how this Muppet retheme is going to work, but this coaster as a whole will still be there intact. Just the theming of it will be different. I'm confident it'll still be one of the most thrilling rides at Disney World. I'm confident that it will still be a very good attraction. We'll see where it falls when the Muppets take over and see how they do it. I'm confident they're going to do a good job at it though. So Rock and Roller Coaster, as it still stands, and what I think will be in the future, as my number 3, because I love a good thrill ride, and Disney nailed this one. Number 2, there's only 2 left, so what's my number 2? It's Tower of Terror. Now, Tower of Terror is the last of those feels like Hollywood Studios rides. Been doing it since I was a kid. It is a very thrilling attraction and fun attraction. It is like the best drop tower in the world. This is awesome. You feel that theming the second you walk into the park and you see Tower of Terror. You hear the screams coming there. It's awesome. Doing it at night is great. The pre-show is awesome. The queue is awesome. The ride itself is awesome. The only thing holding Tower of Terror back for me a little bit is that the drop sequences can feel very short. I feel like they've gotten a little longer, but it depends on which one you do. You could be looking at like 2 drops. Sometimes it's just too short. Now, if you've done Mission Breakout over in Disneyland and California Adventure, that drop sequence is very long. I think they did a very good job changing that from Tower of Terror to Mission Breakout. I really enjoy Mission Breakout because it's just longer. If Tower was a little bit longer, I think it would be great. There's a lot of you who don't like drop towers that are like, no, it's perfectly fine, perfectly long enough. I think it's a great attraction. It is a staple Disney attraction. I think it's one they can never close. It is my number 2 because number 1 is Rise of the Resistance. I think this is one of the best attractions Disney has ever created ever. It's hard to even call this a ride or an attraction. This is an experience. And if you've done it, you know what I mean. From the second the pre-show hits, and I don't even know how to define which one is the pre-show, you just feel like you're going through an entire experience. It is so well done, so well crafted, and the ride is awesome. This is what trackless rides are for. Granted, as we're a few years into this, not all the effects work anymore. Some of it is just too complicated, and that is a shame. However, I don't think that completely takes away from it. Once you experience this once, it'll never be the same again. The experience of your first time doing this, not knowing what's coming and just having it unfold, can never be matched. And I think that's why some people say Rise doesn't live up to the hype and stuff like that, because the first time is just so unbelievable. There's no way it can match that. But of a theme park ride and an attraction, it blows them all out of the water. This is an experience unlike anything else that you can only get here. You can get roller coasters in other places. You can get drop towers in other places. You can get screen rides in other places. You can't get anything like Rise of the Resistance besides at Disney. It is unbelievable. It tells an awesome story. It is one of my favorite attractions of all time, and it still is to this day the best attraction at Hollywood Studios. So that's my rankings for all my Hollywood Studios attractions from worst to best. Let me know what you agree with. Let me know what you disagree with. I'm sure there's some of you that do that. And let me know your list in the comments. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It helps me out a lot, and I appreciate it. And I will see you on Thursday.